Well, hello. If anyone's actually there and watching the live stream, I've arrived. I can't be bothered looking to see who's there or not yet. You should say hello in the chat. I will have a look on the YouTube in a second to see who's there, and we'll turn the camera on soon enough. Hello there, Garth. Good to see you on the chat. I wonder if you're the only one there yet. We'll soon see. I'll just let this static screen sit there a bit longer because I didn't bother putting a countdown timer on it. Well, I can see there's a couple of other people there watching. Haven't said hello in the chat yet, but that's all right. You don't have to. So I'll wait another 15 seconds or so and then turn the camera on. Well, hello, everyone. Hello, Jim. I'm glad I scared the crap out of you. That's really quite nice. This not very exciting live stream is coming to you live from Campsie in the inner southwestern suburbs of Sydney in the Australia. I'm Stilgherrian. If you've arrived here, you probably know that already because I don't think randoms will wander into this stream. Hello to Wolfcat again. I've said hello to Jim. Hello to Garth again now that I've put the camera on. And anyone else who's there. Housekeeping first. When I speak and it goes out on the stream and then it lags and it comes back and you respond in the chat and then I see that react, that can be up to 60 seconds, 40 to 60 seconds. This is a property of YouTube, not of my brain or your brain. People have suggested why not use Twitch only. Well, you know the kind of people who use Twitch. Some of you are that kind of person. I'm not. Twitch is designed for low latency, but this, on the YouTube is where actual, people, including the broader spread of my audience, are likely to find me. So this is number 4 in the live streams for the Great Unboxening. The people I can see in the chat already know this, but for those of you who might be new, the story is I'm Stilgherrian. I told you that bit already. And I ended up, through various complicated things, ended up living in the Blue Mountains, about 100 kilometres west of Sydney for 15 years. It was only meant to be a few weeks. It ended up being 15 years. But quite recently, I had the opportunity to move back to Sydney. My eye is itchy. And here I am in Campsie. But there were a couple of things. One is that moving was going to be very expensive and I didn't have the cash flows. So I ran this crowdfunder, address on the screen. It's still open, which helped cover the cost of moving and setting some things up. That's still open. The move has happened, but we're surviving. Look, the story's there. The second thing is that I had all this stuff in storage for 15 years. And I pulled that out of storage and I've taken it all out of the boxes. So the actual great unboxening part has already happened. Just outside this shot is piles of shit. There's several hundred books on the floor over there. There's a stack of stuff over there. The books behind me and the bookshelves are just put there to look kind of okay. And I'm getting rid of most of that. And supporters like your good selves, because, you know, just being here supports me. Hello, Static Sen. I've done these live streams to kind of talk a little bit about what's there, hopefully making them a little more interesting than just a home shopping channel. I don't know whether I've succeeded in that in the previous couple, but if you want to, after this, go back and have a look at what do we got? We did episode 1 was just me saying hello with a pile of crap behind me. Episode 2, we looked at some of the books. Episode 3, we looked at the crate of vinyl. Only a couple of bits have gone. Only a few books have gone. Do feel free to make an offer. Down in the description of this video, you'll see links to all of that. And I have a deadline. I have been told by Snarky Platypus, who owns this apartment, that I've got until the end of May to make my corner here look a little less shit. And so what I'm going to do is by this Sunday, I reckon, the 10th of May, that is, I'm going to start putting all this stuff up on Gumtree or eBay or the vinyl on Discogs, I'm told, is good for a couple of weeks. We'll see how that goes. And then by the end of the month, I'll just be taking, you know, the vinyl into a vinyl shop and go, you know, what do you want to give me? The books, similar, or I might put a trestle table out on the street, say, you know, what do you want? And the other things, we'll see. But I want to move it all, so feel free to make an offer. Hello, Sebastian. Great, you could join us. Yes, RIP Module 3. If you're new, these days, removalists and storage and so on put everything in storage into these big wooden boxes, which they call modules, and they fit inside a standard shipping container. It all makes perfect sense. When my stuff went into storage 15 years ago, they did not do that. And so somewhere in the middle, they repacked all my stuff from, you know, open cages. No, that's a contradiction in terms. From unstructured stuff put in cages to putting it all inside modules. And there's supposed to be 3 modules. They only found 2 of them. There is a lost module which contains... Oh, mate. I'll go through this. Okay, here's what's in the lost module. It's been more than 6 weeks. It's 7 weeks since the move happened, and the storage company still hasn't found it. One of 14 boxes of books missing. A box containing, kitchen stuff? No, saucepans? I don't know, one of those. Kitchen stuff anyway. A bookshelf like the ones behind me, and a 4th bookshelf, a coffee table, half of the bits of my bed, so I'm sleeping on the floor like an impoverished student, a microwave oven, 4 boxes which are just labelled office items, 3 drawer filing cabinets full of stuff, a tumble dryer, my Herman Miller Aeron office chair, which I would have paid more than $1,000 for. I see they list now for $2,400 Australian. A fridge, yeah, fuck the fridge. 4 of my 6 dining chairs. My tools. I lost my tools. Another crate of vinyl records and various things. Is that enough of a whinge? Stilgherrian in the chat is saying getting rid of books is hard, I am finding. Yeah, look, people, if they out and see a book they like, they might pick it up and look at it. But when it's just titles in a spreadsheet or, covers, and they have to go to some effort, they can't just like pick it up and take it to the counter. They actually have to think about it and say, oh, can I give you $5 for that? Here's my, yeah. So I don't know what I'm going to do there. Anyway, there's books, there's vinyl. We've done all that. I'm going to start talking about DVDs today, CDs, and a couple of other things that I've found. One of which is this. It's a high 8 tape. It's just labelled Stilgherrian's. Oh, the camera's smart. It focuses on me and not just random things I put in the foreground. There we go. Oh, Stilgherrian scratch tape. I hate to think what I've filmed and put on there. But have a look at the list of DVDs. I'll show you some highlights. Unclutter the screen. Why didn't it switch when I do that? Oh, I know why. This is interesting. This is definitely a bootleg of a film from the 1960s called The Rise and Rise of Michael Rimmer. It stars Peter Cook. It was written by Peter Cook and some others. You can tell it's a bootleg because it's just on the back. That's all it is. Peter Cook plays Michael Rimmer, who kind of walks into an opinion polling company and just starts taking over and starts doing a time and motion study, and everyone just assumes he's been hired to do that. He just talks his way into it, blags it, social engineering into the place, ends up taking over the company, ends up running for Prime Minister of Great Britain, and changes things forever. It's probably a bit dated, but it's quite good. Books in street libraries, that's a good thing. I've also thought of op shops, but yeah, should find a street library and put it in. You may see up behind me there all of these old computing and tech and such books. So expensive and yet so out of date. There's also Gattaca. This is still sealed. Great movie. Obviously got that thinking, yeah, that's a great movie. I'll watch it again, and then never did. This disc features an interactive menu to help access its special features. Wow. I'm also amused that the subtitles on this one are in English, French, Dutch, and Arabic. It says Region 4. I don't know. I haven't used DVDs in ages. Is that whole region thing still a thing? I'd like to know. The reason I mentioned the subtitles is when we look at this one, it's a movie called Swim Fan. I don't know anything about this movie, but it says on the back, subtitles are in Malay, Chinese, English, and Thai. All right? Southeast Asia, East Asia, that's fine. But when you look closely, or when I look closely, you won't be able to do this. That all looks not so much printed, but a colour photocopy of all of the paper on that. So I'm wondering whether this one is a Southeast Asian bootleg. It doesn't say anything about region on it. Oh, all ALL. Excuse me while I look at this tiny weeny writing. This disc is compatible with all DVD players displaying these symbols. All and DVD video. Okay, blah, blah, blah. There's something about the FBI. Yeah, sure. There's a couple of them are like that. And in the spreadsheet, you'll see the ones that are labelled a bit Southeast Asian bootleg, but it's digital. The question is it digital they copied it from another DVD, or is it digital in that they pointed a video camera at the screen in the cinema or something? On the focus thing, we just had Static Sound making the point. I probably need to block your face to make the camera focus on whatever you're holding. That is true. This is a, what is it? It's a Sony something, whatever. Yeah, I had a look before. It's definitely tracking my face to focus on it. I can probably turn that off. Who remembers, well, if you're young, you won't, House of Cards? This is the box set. This is the entire House of Cards trilogy. So to play the House of Cards, to play the King, and the final cut. Brilliant political drama. That's quite good. Someone should go to that. Dr. Strangelove, or How I Learned to Love the Bomb and Stop Worrying, is the other way around. How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love the Bomb. Brilliant film. Young folk, you should see it. It's why older folk like me went a bit mad. Now, these three have to go as a set, I think, because can I do this? 1, 2, like that. Thunderbirds, Volume 1, 2, and 3. So that's 12 episodes? How many were there? You can look that up for yourself. But between the three things, there's 12 episodes of Thunderbirds there. It says digitally remastered, whatever that means. Again, a full interactive animated menu. Fuck, the 1990s never ended, did they? Oh, these are from, yeah. I see your point. Numbers 2 and 3 are still sealed. Rattle. Make an offer. Look, if I shove them in a padded post bag, that's going to be that'll be about, I suppose, $10 or $12 postage, including the padded post thing. Have a think about it. Although I will say, Thunderbirds is being completely digitally remastered with 4K scans of the original 35mm film. They've done one. It's up on YouTube. Looks really good. Yeah, so they're talking about that. And Dark Star, John Carpenter's first ever film, budget of $5,000. I think it eventually became $50,000. It's very much a thing of its time. Highly recommended for completists. And so the music, okay, so written by Dan O'Bannon and John Carpenter. Yeah. Thunderbirds a go, says Static Sound. Yes. Who else is saying interesting things? Yeah. Lovely stuff. Now, also, I've just added at the bottom of the sheet. No, I won't. I'm just going to say this. Later this year, in September, is the 60th anniversary of the Star Trek franchise. Is that a good thing or is that a bad thing? I understand from the comments on the socials recently that there's some new Star Trek or other happening, and some folks are not liking it. I haven't seen what that's about. I don't know. But there is some major sookage, so I might come back to that in my regular podcast, the 9 p.m. Edict. Aha! Let me tell you, your supporters, you probably are interested in this. Yes, the mid-2026 series. I have started locking in the guests. I start recording next week. And the crowdfunder, this one, I've said I'm going to do eight special guest episodes so far for mid-2026. Keep putting contributions into that. There will be more. If we hit the next target, there'll be 12. Because this is kind of like 1.5 seasons at once. It's all very confusing. But the first one I'm recording next week is with journalist Erin Cook, who specialises in Southeast Asia. She's been a very popular guest in the past. We look at what's happening in Thailand, Indonesia, Philippines, Myanmar, Vietnam, Cambodia, Laos. They're our main focus. We both love the amusements of Thai politics in particular. But there's a lot happening there, particularly in Myanmar after their elections, the result of which was no surprise to anyone. But that's the first one we're recording next Wednesday. So it'll be 13th, Wednesday, 13th of May. So if you are a supporter with trigger words or a conversation topic you want to throw into that podcast, do let me know by Tuesday night, I suppose. First thing Wednesday morning. It'll be on my website in due course. Then after that, the next one will be with Scottish author and social researcher David F. Porteous. He's always a lot of fun to talk to. We get distracted immensely to talk about many things, and he's a lot of fun. Sebastian, you have asked Bougainville. Bougainville always sounds like it's, in the western suburbs of Sydney, doesn't it? That is an excellent suggestion. I think Erin really runs out at Southeast Asia, but Bougainville, you're absolutely right. We should do that. In fact, I want to do a couple of episodes looking more at our Pacific neighbours. Bougainville is huge. What's happening in Papua New Guinea is huge. There is a journalist I saw, one of the ABC's people who looks very good on all that, so I might give her a buzz. I also want to do something on Nepal, because Nepal is now a major contributor to migration to Australia. They want to get away from the politics in Nepal. I'm not completely sure why. I mean, it's horrible, obviously. But Nepal, I want to do something on. No, Bougainville's a really good suggestion because no, I'm not allowed to talk about that yet. Also want to do China more broadly. So I've put out a couple of emails just in the last couple of days with some people about that. But yes, do keep the suggestions coming in. I have found more of you are interested in this kind of regional politics than I'd thought might be. I thought I'd be looking at that and nerds wanted more nerd stuff. Turns out you're also nerding about some of the politics. Who knew? Before I finished, anyway, that's coming up, the 9 p.m. edict. Look for it in your podcast app. I think all of you already know that, at least those of you in the chat. This brought back memories. Tropfest, the world's largest short film festival. These are from when the newspaper known as the Sydney Morning Herald would put out a DVD of all of the finalists in the competition, the final 16. And they'd include it free in the newspaper. So I've got ones here from 2003, 2 copies of that for some reason. 2005, 6, 7, 8, 10. I had to figure that out because for some reason by 2010, they didn't have the brains to put the year on them. Like on the rest of these, nowhere does it say what year they're from. You have to look at the back and then see what the finalists are, and then try to find them on Wikipedia. And Wikipedia doesn't have a complete list. The Tropfest website only tells you about what's this year. I mean, it's been, I think, hasn't it? So whatever. Anyway, 2010, I've written 2010 in the bottom corner. And one for, I don't know what year that is. Stupid fucking Fairfax. As it was then. Also, they used to give away in the paper this co-promotion with ABC Classic FM, the Life is Beautiful promo. I don't know how often they did that because, again, they didn't put years on them. Well, I need to put that back here. Living is beautiful. Life is beautiful, sorry. The perfect sound. Oh, some say the perfect soundtrack to your day. This one says the perfect soundtrack to your weekend. Then there's Sydney Symphony Beethoven, a disc that says Energy Australia and the Sydney Morning Herald. A bunch of jazz for the boomers. Celebrating new Australian music. Again, there's no... Oh, Homebake 07. Oh, wow, Homebake. The acts include Divinals, Panau, Old Man River, The Scare, Wicked Beat Sound System, Soft Tigers, Bells Will Ring, The Beautiful Girls, Blue King, Round the Brunettes, Subaudible Hum, Pivot, The Checks, Red Eye Society, and Foreign Heights. And they proudly support Mission Australia for some reason. So there's those. Again, I'm happy to just stick. It'll get to the point where I go, I'll do what some bookstores do and sell books by weight. You go, okay, we've got a box here, up to 5 kilo I can send for a fixed rate anywhere in Australia. There we go. Those others are CDs really rather than DVDs, aren't they? Here's another DVD, though, from the Sydney Morning Herald, Yoga. Very Sydney Morning Herald. The DVD features a 30-minute dynamic vinyasa yoga class, detailed beginner's introduction to the postures segment, and stunning footage of Byron Bay's most idyllic beaches. Oh, dear. Yeah. I think that's all I want to say about the DVDs. Before I go on to talk about some of the other CDs, let me just check the chat. A drink for the Sydney Morning Herald reference. Back in the first .com boom, I worked both initially for a Fairfax-funded multimedia startup. Oh, I can show you this. Oh, it's just down here. Oh, mate. Oh, dear. Let's get... So, it was a multimedia company that was half set up by some fast-talking guys from Texas who were Big Hand Inc. Give it a big hand, hey! And Fairfax, they put in the publisher of the Sydney Morning Herald and the Age in Melbourne, it's Financial Review, blah, blah, blah. So they put in half the money each and set up this little production company for multimedia, and I was one of their first hires. Now, this was 1995, so of course none of us had any idea what we're doing. But one of the projects was to produce a CD-ROM multimedia magazine. And they came up with the name. Come on. Grab focus. I'm going to have to cover my face and then hang on. Let me just sort out a window so I can see what I'm doing while I cover my face. This is just weird. Okay, this zine. So the idea was it was sold in newsagents. It was shrink wrapped, but it was just a bit of cardboard shrink wrapped with a CD-ROM attached to the front of it. And this project was fucked from the very start. For a start, marketing, who had to try and get some ads on it and so on, had one age range, and I think they were going like 13 to 17 or something, but they told the production side that it was 15 to 24 or something like that, which are very different audiences. Let me just check the comments on this because I think some of you will already be freaking out about this. Oh no, it was a different time. So I was originally not involved with this project. I was involved. Oh, this is funny. What was the big thing that happened in personal computing technology in 1995? It was, of course, Windows 95. And that was going to be launched with the Microsoft Network, MSN. Now, originally as intended, because Windows 95 would be the first Windows with the internet built in, no more trumpet windsock. And they had wanted to do MSN as a kind of walled garden. For people who are really old, AOL, America Online, was its own walled garden of chats and people could have sites on it, whatever. Well, MSN was going to be the same, and they had a whole multimedia framework that it was going to run on, which back then its code name I think was Blackbird. I'd have to look that up. That's the same thing that went through a whole lot of things, was ended up calling .NET and this, that, and the other. But it was going to be a whole thing. You could build interactive menus and whatever. I mean, about the same time Flash came out, Adobe Flash. I remember all that. Anyway, this was kind of Microsoft's rough equivalent to that. So we were like a prime partner, and we were producing an online youth-focused online environment, which was called, and I'm very embarrassed to say this, but I didn't make the name up, Planet Youth. 1995. You can tell these names are made up by middle-aged people and beyond. And the idea was that, this would be one of the, when Windows 95 launched in Australia, this would be one of the key icons that you click on and premium services you could go to. Anyway, it was 3 or 6 weeks out from the launch of Windows 95 that Microsoft suddenly told developers, no, we're not going to be doing that. So MSN will just be kind of like an internet service provider, but we'll have a little app that you can connect to, and it'll just look like your standard Windows Explorer with folders and files and stuff. So that project never happened. I don't think we burned that much on it. Probably only a couple of million. Whatever. Anyway, I was moved to this project because there was this guy, and he was meant to be the editor and putting together stuff for this CD-ROM magazine. And everyone thought he was so cool. I mean, he always was connected with the latest games and whatever. Anyway, it turned out as deadlines approached that he hadn't actually done any work for several months. He'd just been looking at cool stuff, but in terms of lining up content and things, he hadn't really done anything. I think he just blagged in because it was like, oh, he's a tall black guy from London with dreads, therefore he must be cool and know what he's doing. And look, maybe he did, but he certainly wasn't delivering the kind of things needed. So I was brought in to sort out that mess. I mean, some stuff had been lined up. I didn't want anything to do with this. I mean, just look at that cover, for instance. They decided that a CD-ROM magazine needed presenters. So they built a whole like 3D animated set for these people to be in some sort of cyberpunk environment. This is 1995, remember. And I don't know. They said presenter. I said it's a magazine. Magazines don't have presenters. They just have the stuff that's in the magazine, and there's videos and there's things and whatever. So, what does it say on the front of this? What's in this? Jammed, spelt JAMM''D, with info and entertainment. Interviews with Screenfeeder, Ed Cooper, and Swoop. Lots of hot tracks. I think Lots of Hot Tracks was 6 from memory. A bit of a thing looking at Shock Music, who were a great indie label then. Wage Slaves, I forget what that's about. Oh, that was going to be a thing where we interviewed someone about a career each time. I think this was some sponsor-related thing. Oh, and I love this bit at the bottom. Where is it? There. Bonus internet software and 5 hours connect time with Microplex. Static Sound has just noticed that it says issue 0. Yes, I wanted to make it very clear that this was very much a beta product, and if this was to continue, we wanted to have the option of changing it totally, which I did. I saved $5,000 by getting rid of this stupid 3D animated set because they weren't moving around in it. They were just green screening it. Why did you need different? I got rid of the presenters entirely. That saved another $10,000 or 15 or something. They were paying rights to distribute music on it. And I can't remember how many thousand they did on that. And I go, no, you get the labels to provide it for free because you asked that. So I just phoned up Shock Records, which I had a working relationship with from another part of my career. And I just said, Sharon, we're doing this. It's, however many thousand copies done. Give us 6 bands that you want to promote and 2 tracks from each. Thank you. For nothing, obviously. And we did. Here we go. Yes, this is issue 0. It's jammed, as I say, with over 600 megabytes of info and entertainment. And this runs on the computer standard at the time, which was recommended for Windows 95. It was the MPC 2 standard, which is MPC 2 is at least Windows 3.1 with DOS 6.2, a 486 processor SX33, 8 megabytes of RAM, and a double-speed CD-ROM. You'll also need a sound card and at least 13-inch VGA or SVGA monitor. And we distributed it with QuickTime 2.0.1 for Windows. On the Mac side, System 7, you needed to have at least a 68040 processor, 6 mega RAM, 13-inch color screen, 256 colors. Oh, we had to do all the palette management on it. My God, that was a pain in the ass. QuickTime 2.0, yeah, Apple Multimedia Tuner supplied. I don't know what that was. There's a competition to win Killer Loop sunglasses. What sport? Oh, rock climbing. Anyway, despite that and minimal promotion, it was in newsagents and sold nearly 20,000 copies at, what did someone say it was, $17.95 or something? It was a bit under 20, yeah, $17.95. To put that in context, like coming out of nowhere and selling 18 to 20,000 copies, the Bulletin magazine, the weekly premium or one of the premium current affairs magazines, was not selling 20,000 copies. So then, with me in charge, we came up with issue 1, and I got rid of the apostrophe and jammed. It's actually JAMMED now, an actual word. We have some, what's on it? Some manga stuff. We had some clips from some anime. I can't remember what. Who did we do interview? We were a bit cagey about what the fuck's actually on it. Oh, interview with Pavement, Clan Analog, and the Mark of Cain. Wow, this is from 1996. This is early 96 it came out. Oh, this was the good thing. Fairfax decided that this whole company was blowing too much money without a result, which is true. So one Friday morning, they just sacked everyone who wasn't working on a project with guaranteed profits. And this wasn't, because this was for sale in shop, so there was no guaranteed income. But we were like 2 weeks out from finishing it and having everything done. So they sacked me on Friday, and then on Monday morning I got this sheepish phone call saying, so you know how we sacked you the other day? Yeah. Could you come back? Yeah, how much do you want? I don't know. I'm trying to remember what we had. I remember we had a budget for traveling. There's something... Jeff Koons art star, picture of a pig. I'll have to... I assume this will still kind of load, if nothing else. It's a CD-ROM, so if nothing else, you can kind of pull the video files off it, which I think were like 480 by 320 or something pixels. Your whole screen's only 800 by 600, right? Oh, God. Send us your thoughts on this scene and you'll go into the draw for one of 6 Sony PlayStation Doom games. Yeah, no Sony PlayStation, just a copy of Doom. Anyway, that's it. These are not for sale. They're my only ones left. Yes, thank you, Static Sand. Lots of traffic in memory lane tonight. Let's look at some CDs, because I've been going, oh, God, 40 minutes already. This is longer than the others. Where'd I put them? Excuse me while I figure out where oh. Okay. This seems to have been a freebie. That's Kate Bush's Aerial double CD, gatefold stuff in mint condition. Look at all this bullshit. I reckon it was labelled $44 new back then. Do you reckon I could get $20 for that? I don't know. At the complete other end of the... No, won't do that. I should say all those in jewel cases, the jewel cases are pretty scratched up. Can I be asked putting new jewel cases on them, or just let a buyer do that themselves? Anyway, that is members of the Los Angeles Philharmonic Orchestra, not all of them, because it's Bach. You don't want a whole modern Philharmonic Orchestra to pay Bach. It sounds stupid that way. Anyway, these are the Brandenburg concertos, 1 to 3 on one, 4 to 6 on the others. That's BWV 1046 to 1051. BWV, das Bach Verka the something. It's the standard catalogue of Bach's work because he wrote so much stuff. I used to know so many of them off by heart. My first radio was presenting classical music. I am a bit fond of Bach. He would have been so into analog synths if he was alive today, because back in his time, whenever he went to a new town, he'd be straight to the local cathedral and faffing about in the back of the organ, seeing what it had and how it worked and whatever. He was very much into the technology of the music he played. That's good. Don't hit the microphone. I've mentioned in the past that I'm a bit of a fan of Brian Eno, at least in his earlier days. There's Discrete Music, one of his experiments with what he later called ambient music. Discrete Music, this is from originally 1975 on vinyl. I don't know when it came onto CD. It's not very clear to me. Anyway, this particular album is called Discrete Music. That's the first side, but the first side on the vinyl it would have been. The other one was 3 variations on the Canon in D major by Johann Pachelbel. Everyone knows Johann Pachelbel's Canon in D major. I won't hum it. Look it up for yourself. I won't play it because I don't want a copyright strike on the tube. But it happened when he'd put it on the vinyl of it, and he'd put it on, but he'd accidentally put on the tape or something at the wrong speed. Yeah, because I opened real tape. And he was playing it like half speed, and he couldn't be asked getting up to fix that because he was stoned out of his tiny little mind. And so he was inspired to see listening to this music much slower. So the 3 movements, or the 3 variations, I should say, are based on stoned mistranslations of the titles of some of Pachelbel's work. They are, number 1, Fullness of Wind, number 2, French Catalogues, and number 3, Brutal Ardour. Why am I telling you all this? I might get a couple of bucks for it. I don't know. If you are into Adelaide techno from the turn of the 90s, then you will already know that Mothership from Juice Records is a must-have techno album from that period when all of the excellent stuff was coming from Adelaide, and Melbourne was a bit more trancey and on mushrooms, and Sydney was much more kind of jazz funk was much more popular in Sydney, and then Queensland was really just commercial dance pop was what came out of Queensland. This is great stuff. I also see it's distributed by Shock Records. I mentioned Shock before. I don't think Shock exists. Oh, artwork by Andrew Davies Design. He was hot as. Yeah. So, sorry, what was that? Anyway, I will say, yeah, as I hold them up, the jewel cases are scratched up from just being moved around, but the actual inserts, oh, that one's a little thing because it was a favourite. I played it lots. There's a couple of other things here I wanted to mention. This is weird. It just says on the front Australian Aboriginal music, and it's from a label called Janda Music, Janda, and it just has track names. There's no information on who the performers are, nor on like which bit of Aboriginal they're talking about. There's a lot of different peoples out there, and even the tracks. They're not even giving the indigenous names to the tracks. They are the rainbow snake, Karora, the bandicoot, Karam, the lizard, or some of them they are giving indigenous names. Kanawara, the black swan, Spirit Land, just Spirit Land, Taknampa, the water snake, and then emu, kangaroo, Wimmera, which is a place, and that's, I think, is that what we call Western Victoria out there in the Mallee country in South Australia, I think? Valley of the Wind, Devil Man, and the Mice Woman. Not the Mouse Woman, I noticed, but the Mice Woman. And as I said, there's just no information on what it is. Original price $9.95, discounted to $4.95 somewhere. Janda music. Don't know. So there's all of that. Don't make me take it to an op shop. Some of you put in things. If you're in Sydney, just come around with an envelope of cash and I'll hand you stuff. Static saying there is no reason to apologise for being chatty on the stream. That's good. Some of you are a bit quiet. And yeah, many computers don't have optical drive. I don't have an optical drive here. I found a CD player way over there. It doesn't have a line out, so I don't know quite what I'm going to do with that. Some little mini sit on a shelf stereo system from way back, very cheapy. Panasonic, quite good, but and I did find when I dug out these discs before. Look at this! Look at this! Oh God, I'm fat now, aren't I? Look at this! A Panasonic DVD player. It's filthy. What do you reckon the odds are of that still working? And there's an LG VHS tape deck of similar age down there. One of the things I'm going to put on I showed in the first video, number 1 in this series, a whole bunch of cassettes, compact cassettes, which contain stuff that I did on the radio back in the day in the 1980s and 90s. One of them, given that it's very relevant this week, is an interview from 1984 I recorded with Sir David Attenborough. Was he even a knight at that point? I'd have to look that up. He was a lot younger than he is now. Good heavens, 1984. Yes, that's more than 40 years ago. I was very young. I was one of the first broadcasters to go live on air from the womb. True fact. Oh, speaking of true fact, here is something else. I promised there would be an actual UFO in this in this live stream, and there is. I recorded this video earlier. That genuine UFO, I found that in a box. The original box it came in. The box itself is a bit tattered. Look at that. It runs on 2 D-cell batteries. It makes a very irritating noise. It flashes its lights, and it has that little air blower on it, so the ball just hovers in front of that. Cats will love that. It's made of tin. It comes with a spare ball, although I reckon standard packaging for tin can. Just look at that go. Bye-bye. There's your UFO. Isn't that fantastic? Yes, Jim, I went live from the womb. You wouldn't want to go dead from the womb. That's called a stillbirth. Winning joke. Um, I do have a list of what I wanted to talk about before I wrap up on something quite amusing, which there may or may not be a market for. Where did I put my notes? There they are. I've told you things in storage, right? Links, yes. Look in the description for links to the stuff that's available. Starting Sunday night, no, starting on Monday, the 11th of May, I'll just start putting stuff up in the normal way you sell things on Gumtree and eBay and Discogs and Grindr. Could you sell things? No, you can't sell things on Grindr. Very little. I will update this tomorrow, but very little has been taken yet. So it's all good. I've told you about the 9 p.m. edict that I start recording new episodes next week. Another Untitled Music podcast. Snarky Platypus is over the other side of the room, but he's playing. I'm not sure what game he's playing. But he has earbuds in, so you can't hear me. Oh, I meant to tell you this much earlier. This weekend, OnlyFans, I could sell at OnlyFans. Yes, thank you. Yeah, just imagine that. This coming weekend is kind of semi-adjacent to my birthday. So this Saturday, the 9th of May, I will be having drinks at a pub in the city in Sydney, the Mountbatten Hotel at 701 George Street in Haymarket from about 3 o'clock Saturday afternoon, this Saturday, the 9th of May. Now, some of you may be thinking, the Mountbatten Hotel, that's a horrible, grotty little dive. It used to be quite terrible, but now it's part of the JDA Collective. I thought it was the JDA Group of Pubs, but they now call them the JDA Collective of Pubs. And they know how to run good pubs. And the good thing about the Mountbatten is that it's right there handy on George Street and in Haymarket, Chinatown. And it's usually fairly quiet on a Saturday afternoon. So, with a few people, we can essentially take over the place. I am known to the staff. I am a member of the JDA Collective kind of, 10% off your wine kind of thing. So that would be great. And it has a Thai kitchen attached if you're hungry. So that's from 3 p.m. this Saturday, the 9th of May, 2026, Mountbatten Hotel, 701 George Street. Finally, before I go, I've told we'll get the Untitled Music podcast thing happening very soon. I've worked it out with the Platypus. We've got a slight backlog of We Will Judge You playlists to play and judge. The final thing I wanted to mention is I found this. A copy of the installation discs for Mac OS X Snow Leopard, which it says here I installed on a computer named Danzig in 2009. All of my computers are named after German cities for reasons. And everything came on disk, right? There's Mac OS X. There's VMware Fusion, so I can run multiple machines. It says this VMware Fusion comes with 12 months free Bitdefender total security upon registration. Bitdefender, still very good. Always was one of the top 3 antivirus software people on the planet. They're from Romania. I used to be I got quite a bit of corporate largesse from them, but they're really good people. Here we have, I said I got VMware. It says here, Windows Vista Ultimate. The V word. Microsoft doesn't even say Vista anymore. Microsoft Expression Studio 2. What the fuck was that? What on earth was Expression Studio 2? There's there's 3 discs in there. Can't even remember what Expression was. Of course, it's a Mac, so there was what was then called iWork, Final Cut Express. Don't know why. Maybe that just came with them. And of course, Microsoft Office for Mac 2008. Oh, it's a promotional copy for some reason. Oh, that must be before Microsoft had a big spit at me. Oh, it was, yeah. Oh, that's another whole story, but not for today. If you know anyone who, for whatever reason, wants to run ancient operating systems on ancient, well, not that ancient, 2008, 2009, that's there. I have now told you everything I wanted to tell you today. Thank you for joining me. Let me just see whether I'll do another one next week. Maybe watch the socials, watch the emails. You can also go to there and there'll be updates there. That's a little sort of out of date, I think. I need to do another update tomorrow and more often, actually. You know where to find me on the socials. You know where to find me. I mean, there's the address there. Anyway, that's enough for now. Please say farewell to Nat King Cole. He says bye-bye. And I think it's time for me to go bye-bye. Thank you for joining me.